Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Major NBA executive suggests Jimmy Butler's ugly situations always happen for the same reason. No NBA player has been more heavily featured in trade rumors lately than Miami Heat forward Jimmy Butler, particularly since a report came out in early January indicating that he wants to be traded out of Miami. But according to an anonymous head of basketball operations for an NBA team, it's hard to imagine there being a huge trade market for Butler. The executive added that Butler has been in ugly situations throughout his pro career for a recurring reason: money. It's more difficult than people think, the head of basketball operations told Heavy Sports. First of all, Jimmy's 35 and doesn't have much value. And then the team that would like him the most is probably Phoenix, because they're so bad and they have the worst contract in Bradley Beal. Other than that, I don't know of any teams that would want to take on Jimmy Butler, other than teams that just want to dump contracts, and Miami won't go for that. I just don't know how it's going to work. But all this stuff with Jimmy, all the stuff in Miami and Minnesota and Chicago and Philly, all of it is because he wants to get paid. That's where he's at right now. He wants to be paid for what he's done for Miami. The expectation has been that Butler will opt out of his contract for the 2025-26 campaign and enter unrestricted free agency this coming offseason. The unnamed head of basketball operations hinted at the idea that money has often been a conflict for Butler throughout his time in the NBA, but his career earnings imply that he has been paid well. Butler has earned more than $364 million playing in the NBA ever since he started his career with the Chicago Bulls in the 2011-12 campaign, per Spotrac. Only 9 players in the history of the league have made more money in the NBA, and among them are LeBron James, Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. Plus, it's not as if Butler's base salary of nearly $49 million with the Heat this season is anything to scoff at. Butler might not want to get his hopes up that an NBA team will hand him a massive contract in the near future. While he's one of the better playoff performers the league has ever seen, he's also getting up there in age and has shown possible signs of decline with the Heat this season. The 35-year-old is averaging only 17.6 points per game in 22 games played to this point. Miami also has just a 12-10 record in games he's appeared in since the beginning of the campaign. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett go back and forth on Heat culture. As the Jimmy Butler trade drama unfolds, Celtics legends Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce weighed in on Pat Riley's renowned Heat culture. Pierce, in a fiery rant, criticized the Miami Heat executive, stressing the value of respect over financial matters. On the Ticket and the Truth podcast with Kevin Garnett and Tony Allen, Paul Pierce firmly stated that Miami wouldn't be his top choice as a superstar's destination. Garnett responded by pointing out that the front office doesn't define or clarify Heat culture, emphasizing that, in the end, it's all about business. If I'm a superstar, I ain't coming to Heat culture at Paul Pierce 34, so name some better cultures than the Heat culture. Because that's a winning culture. Just because you ask for a number and it ain't going the way you want, don't mean Miami don't have a culture at Kevin Garnett 5kg. If I'm a superstar, I'm going to be like, man, I ain't going down there because once you get this, it's going to be get thee out of here. Don't treat me like this if I sacrifice all this, said the former Celtics star. I ain't coming to that culture. The new generation ain't dealing with that. For the old generation, that was cool. So name some better cultures than the Heat culture. Because that's a winning culture. Just because you ask for a number and it ain't going the way you want, don't mean Miami don't have a culture, Garnett responded. Pat Riley's history with star players has had its share of friction. Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Shaquille O'Neal serve as notable examples, and now Jimmy Butler joins the list as the 4th superstar to be, in some sense, pushed out of Miami. Paul Pierce criticized Riley, questioning his methods and highlighting the exits of former Heat icons James, Wade, and O'Neal. He discussed Pat Riley's handling of NBA business, particularly with star players, and hinted at calculated decisions, using Dwayne Wade as a key example. How did D-Wade not retire a Heat? He has a statue, but why did he have to go to Chicago and come back? That should have never happened. That was all Riley. It makes me look at Pat Riley like, once I get whatever I need from you, you can get the F*** out of here, Pierce said. That's what Pat Riley's mentality is. Once I got what Shaq, I got a chip out of y'all, who gives a F*** about him. LeBron, all right, get out, Wade, you too, said Pierce in a passionate rant. Jimmy Butler, now in his mid-30s, seeks a final contract extension before retiring. However, many believe Riley is reluctant to offer over $50 million annually to an aging star. This is typical of Riley's approach. As Pierce noted, he has a pattern of leaving his stars feeling undervalued and unappreciated. Riley's tensions with Shaq almost escalated into a physical confrontation, while he openly challenged LeBron James by questioning his courage to remain with the Heat. For possibly the first time ever, the iconic executive faces a challenge from his own superstar. In just 5 years, Jimmy Butler has transformed the Heat, guiding them to 2 finals, more than any other Eastern Conference team during that period. He rejuvenated Heat culture and rescued the franchise from sinking into the lottery. Butler now demands what he believes he deserves and has openly expressed his dissatisfaction with Miami. Riley faces a decision: either secure the extension Butler wants or trade him to a preferred destination. Both choices seem far from ideal for Pat or the Heat organization. At 35, Butler's future in Miami remains uncertain, but the Heat have been performing well in his absence. Recently, the team secured its 3rd straight win, defeating the Portland Trail Blazers on Saturday to bring their season record to 20-17. Suns want Jimmy Butler bad, but here's why trade won't be easy. The Jimmy Butler trade saga grinds on for the Miami Heat, with one suitor hot on the trail. NBA insider Mark Stein reported on the Phoenix Suns' interest in Butler and said, "I've heard they want him bad." The problem for Phoenix is the considerable obstacles that stand between them and a deal for Butler. In order to land the 35-year-old from the Heat, the Suns would have to move Bradley Beal's onerous contract. Beal is in the 3rd season of a 5-year, $251 million deal, and his play has fallen off a cliff. He owns one of the NBA's worst contracts at the moment. He also has a no-trade clause. Miami won't take Beal's deal back in a trade, so the 2 teams would need to find a third partner willing to take that contract for any move to work. For Butler, joining Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in Phoenix would undoubtedly be attractive, but at this point a deal looks unrealistic. That said, a lot can change as the trade deadline approaches. Butler is making $48.8 million this season and holds a $52.4 million player option for the 2025-26 campaign. His preference would be a trade to a new team and a multi-year extension. The Heat have balked at giving him that. The Suns are the team pursuing Butler the hardest, but making a deal work with the Heat will be incredibly difficult. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.